Hi, welcome to my channel Cloud with Girish. In this video workshop, we will explore how to secure your CloudFront distribution or website using AWS WAF. WAF stands for Web Application Firewall. AWS WAF is a powerful web application firewall that monitors HTTP requests to your web application. It allows you to control access based on various criteria, including IP addresses, geographic location, query string value, and other criteria. Based on these criteria, AWS WAF can serve the requested content or return an HTTP 403 forbidden response for the blocked content. Or you can put a custom response and it can deliver a custom response as well. This session focuses on a practical use case, which is protecting a CloudFront distribution to ensure only users from US IP addresses can access your website. Non-US IP addresses will receive an HTTP 403 forbidden response. Let's look at our business use case. We need to protect CloudFront distribution website using AWS WAF. Allow only user from US to access the website and then deny access to user outside of US by returning back a 403 forbidden response. I'll be creating the AWS WAF web ACL and rules using AWS console. However, you can create the AWS WAF rules using CloudFormation as well. Let's look at our architecture. We have a website which is hosted using the Route 53 and S3 services from AWS. And then I have created a CloudFront distribution along with a certificate to make it a HTTPS website. This is a secure website. However, it's a public URL and anybody across the globe can access this by typing the website URL. For the use case, I want to make sure that it's only access from US, and then all other users from all other countries, they should be denied access. So to accomplish this, I'm using another AWS service, which is AWS WAF, and then I'll define a WAF rule which will allow only the user from US IP addresses to access the website. Prereq for this workshop is simply the basic familiarity with AWS console and existing website served via CloudFront distribution and fundamental understanding of HTTP and cloud concepts. This workshop assumes that you have a website configured using AWS Route 53, S3, and CloudFront. If you need guidance on setting this up, please refer to my previous tutorial. Link is in the description. Let's get started. We're going to review AWS WAF service. We're going to look at the key resources to protect the core component and example use cases that WAF supports. We'll configure web ACL, or how it is typically pronounced, configuring web ACL, setting up rules, associating AWS resources, and then that will be CloudFront, and then solution validation. So we will validate that yes, US IP address can access the website, and we'll also validate that a non-US IP address is getting a 403 forbidden error message. And then of course we need to do the resource cleanup. So let's look at AWS WAF service. AWS WAF is a fully managed web application firewall service provided by AWS. It simplifies the process of protecting your web resources by allowing you to define web access control list and custom rules, or by using pre-configured rules from AWS Marketplace. Once set up, AWS WAF safeguards your web application based on the specified rule. The key component of AWS WAF are web access control lists, rules, and then rules group. Something to keep in consideration that you can apply multiple rules, and rule actions are allow, block, count, and others. And then rule group is a collection of rules. You can build your own rule group or you can buy a pre-built rule group from Amazon Marketplace. Now, if you are buying a pre-built rule group, just make sure that you assess it for use case, the business benefit, and the pricing, because you do have to pay for those rule groups. AWS WAF supports below services, and these are CloudFront, API Gateway, the ALB, which is Application Load Balancer, the Cognito User Pool, AppSync, and App Runner. And some of the use cases, if we look at protecting from DDoS attacks, which is distributed denial of service, implement the geo restriction like we will be doing it, implement IP restriction, whitelisting the IP, and so on. You can also implement the rate limit, which we will look at in another workshop, and protect from SQL injection, and then many more. So let's configure the web access control list and rule for our use case. So once you are in the console, look for AWS WAF service, and then click on create web ACL and fill in the detail. In my case, if you look at the resource type, I'm selecting the Amazon CloudFront distribution. In a later exercises that I will be publishing, we will do some more workshops around other AWS resources like REST API, API Gateway, and so on. So in this workshop, we are focusing on Amazon CloudFront. So let's select CloudFront. We're gonna name it, I'm gonna name it like Cloud with Girish USA Geo. And I just put the description, it's optional, but I just put the description that restrict Cloud with Girish website to US users only. And then I provided a CloudWatch metric name so that that is to get the CloudWatch metric. Let's create the rule next. I'm not using a managed rule for this use case. Hence, I will select add my own rules and rules group from the drop down. In the drop down, when you click on add rule, you will see two options: add managed rule group and add my own rules and rule group. If you select managed rule groups, then you are selecting a rule group that's either managed by AWS or you are picking one from the marketplace. And like I said, assess it for your use case, and then you can pick which suits your business requirement. Of course, look at the cost of those rules. So here in this workshop, let's select add my own rules and rule groups. And then we'll provide a rule name, and we'll select the rule type as regular rule, because in this scenario, I'm not focusing on creating a rate-based rules. Again, we will be doing that in a later workshop. So I'm going to select the regular rule. Now here you can use Visual Editor to build a rule, or you can use JSON to build rule in JSON format. For this session, I'm going to use Visual Editor. Next, we will continue to build the rule. So let's build our statement and a request. So I'm saying, hey, if a request matches the statement, then you inspect that it originates from a country in, and then I can select the country code. So I'm only selecting United States. So originate from a country in US, and then IP address to use. I'm selecting the source IP address. Next, select an action. So if that condition matches, what is the action that I want to be performed? And I have a couple of options here. I'm going to select, hey, if this is originating from US, then allow the request. So I'm allowing the request, and rule is now configured. And you will see if this is the first rule you are configuring, then in your dashboard, you will see that rule is the only one rule there. When you create rule and rule group, pay attention to like something referred as WCU is the Web ACL Capacity Unit. You will see it in your dashboard. Maximum allowed are 5,000. It's a measurement unit, and number of WCU consumed depends on the complexity of rule configured. So in this example, I have one rule, is relatively straightforward, just one rule. So you will see that it has consumed like one WCU. But if I had like more complex rule and I had like multiple rules and then creating rule group, then I will be consuming more WCU. Now let's select an action for scenario when requests don't match any configure rule. So in this scenario, if it doesn't match my condition that I have specified before, I'm going to select block action because that's the use case that I don't want my site to be wide open. I want to restrict it just to the US user. So I'm going to select the block action here. Now, if I have like multiple rule configured, then priority of the rule can also be configured. But in this scenario, I only have one rule, so there is no priority to set up. And then in the next few steps, we can configure the CloudWatch metric, request sampling, and so on. Now, rule is now configured. So we will review the configuration. And once everything looks at like how we have entered, everything is good, create the web ACL and it's created and ready. For that, we have our rule in place. Let's associate this with a resource. So for that, click on Associate AWS Resource tab. And in the drop down, we will see various resources that we can associate this rule with. In my use case, I'm going to associate this with CloudFront distribution for Cloud with Girish website. And once I select that and click on add, I should see a message that you successfully updated the web ACL and the distribution. Now that web access control list is associated with CloudFront distribution for the website, let's validate if it is working per the use case. So first I'm gonna make sure that my IP address is indeed a US address. So just to demonstrate the point. So if you see here, my IP location is showing a US location, it's US based. So we should be able to access the website. If I see the next screen here, and if I'm typing the HTTPS cloudwithgirish.com, which is the URL for the website, I can access the website per the rule configured and per the business use case that I have for this workshop. Now, if I enable the VPN to change the IP address, which in turn will change my IP location. So if you see here, now I have a non-US location here. And if my rule is working, then the website access should be blocked. So if I type the URL again, https cloudwithgirish.com, you will see that I'm getting a 403 error, right? It's a forbidden. So site is forbidden. So this is as expected and configured in the rule, and the website access is blocked. With this workshop, the CloudFront distribution has been secured using AWS WAF service. Protected website will only be served to US-based users. Non-US based users will be denied access to the website. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm constantly working on new content covering various AWS topics. So please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Cloud with Girish channel. Your support helps me continue creating valuable AWS tutorials and workshops. Stay tuned for more exciting content. Thanks for watching.